I had consultations all this week. I started offering one-on-one sessions, and they've been going pretty good. And I want to thank everybody who reached out, who did their appointments. And I think that was a bold move because it's very scary trying to be vulnerable before somebody that you never met before. You just know me by my YouTube videos. But I wanted to ask a question and just say some things real quick. I was like, why is it that, and I'm only talking to my sisters or whatnot, I could say that for everybody, but why is it that we want so much, but we don't want to be committed to do the work, right? We want everything to be microwave, and I'm not talking about my clients, the people that reached in and that did. Everyone that came in there, they were bold and they did what they had to do, and so on and so forth. But I did have a few that did not do the consultation, but we were communicating, and one of the things I noticed is that they had all of these hopes and all these things that they wanted to do. And some of them wanted to get back in the dating scene. They wanted to do a whole change in their life. They wanted to lose some weight, get their hair back on track. Some of them were actually dealing with issues of the hair. And so I was like, great, just like the other ones and whatnot. But the difference is that I saw, and I used to say, well, it's this generation, but I can't even say it's the generation because it's just the world right now. And the simple fact that we want the best of things. And I said this in a video before because I remember Kevin Samuels was talking about how delusional women are. Now, I do see the young generation. I'm like looking at them and I listen to the stuff they say. And I'm like, Lord, they're lost. But just as a whole, as women, it's like, as people, I just don't understand how we expect so much. You know what I mean? But we don't want to put in anything. Everything is very microwave. Everything is, we don't want to watch it grow. We don't want to be able to stand later on and say, I'm proud of myself. Look what I came through. We don't want that. We talk a good game. It's a lot of people that talk a good game, but in actuality, they're going nowhere. They don't have any desire. Some of them just like to be heard, or say they contacted you, or I don't know what it is. But I'm talking to my sisters today, and I'm like, why do we want so much? Why do we want so much? And not all of us, because of course that's clear. It's not all of us, but a lot of us are looking for this knight in shining armor of a man. We want a man that is, and I'm using this as an example, so please, ladies, do not come for me in the comments. I will come back. But we want a man that is high value and high earning, and I only go to these kind of restaurants and all this stuff. And I'm like, I can look at you and tell you don't even go to them restaurants. You don't even spend the money for yourself, but you want someone else to do it for you. And I wanted to speak on it. We're dealing with the mentals today. We normally deal with the outer appearance, and it does affect your outer appearance because I just don't understand. A lot of us are, many of us women, we're raised to be independent. We're raised to be survivors. We're raised to be the strong Black woman and to earn our worth, right? Because of the things that we have, our ancestors, our grandparents, our great-grandparents went through many years ago. It's not going to be a long video. But I look at that, and what I realize is that a lot of us want someone who values you in the way that you actually need to value yourself. So I think a lot of us don't value ourselves, but we want others to value us. We want others to look at us, to look at my hair, look at this, look at my body, and I can have anybody I want. But in actuality, you don't really have much else to offer. And this is the society that we're living in, right? So we're looking for validation from others, from other people, from men. We're looking for the validation, So when I say talking about the money thing, when we get into that whole thing about he got to be high earning, and a lot of us are delusional. You don't even know what 100K look like. But if you do, that's great, right? But a lot of us are in the state where we're asking for things that we're just not willing to do for ourselves. And we are living in a delusional world. You got to be delusional. You got to be delusional to go into business, to be an entrepreneur and all those different things, to make things happen. But in the world today where we think that if we just think of it and we just do these things to cover things up and manipulate, then all things will work out. And it's actually to your detriment, because we have to change. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I spoke to one of the young ladies, and she was just like, wait a minute, so I have to wash my hair every week, and I'm like, you don't have to wash your hair every week, maybe every other week. Well, why can't I wash it every 3 months? But then when I look at her goals is she's wanting to get back into the dating scene. She has some trauma that happened to her. She wants to get back into the dating scene. She has some hair loss in the front part, but at the same time, she doesn't even want to do the basic minimum for that. But when you read her, what her goals are, she wants a high value man, a high earning man, and the way she carries herself with her wigs, she normally attracts that, but she wants to be the real, true, authentic self, her true, authentic self. So she wants to grow her hair back. So this is some of the things that hairstylists deal with. It's not just on these calls, on the calls. It's also in person. I've had clients that say things like that, but then they don't want to do the necessary things to carry themselves that way. You're not even looked upon. Like a high value man would never even look at you. They would never look at a woman that's walking around with a bonnet. They maybe look at you to smash, but they're not looking at you as a wife or something like that, if that's what you're trying to get. And to be honest, a lot of us need to stop with the whole high value and high earning man. You need to look at the character of these men, because a lot of women that we know that are with these men are dealing with abuse, right? They don't have good character. They're abusing them with their finances because always remember, it's his money. It's not yours. So you may say, oh yeah, he has this and that. You may have the big wedding, but then behind closed doors, those women a lot of times go through things. So we're looking on the outside and we want to mimic that. But like I said, a lot of us don't even do it in our everyday lives. So I just don't understand why. And to say that, I'm going to talk about this young lady, because that one is I was like, wow. To say you want to be your true, authentic self. And let me read, because I wrote some notes. You can stay real without staying stuck. Change doesn't mean you're fake. It means you're flexible. So when you're coming and you're saying, hey, I want this, I want all these different things to happen in my life in a short time. I want to attract these great things in my life. To be in your true, authentic self, you're going to stand out alone just by that, right? And her point was she didn't want to wear the wigs anymore. She wanted to start growing her hair out. And I created this, and she wanted to grow her hair out. And I was creating different ideas for her to how to go about it, you know what I mean? And set up a package, regrowth package for her. And she was just like, it wasn't even about the money. She was just like, well, can you just make me some wigs? At the end, she said, well, can you just make me some wigs that look natural? And I just go with that. So it just pushed out everything else because she didn't want to do the work. It wasn't that she couldn't do the work. She just didn't want to do the work. Now, I don't have a problem with creating the wigs for you. But what was the purpose of even reaching out if once someone holds you accountable and say, these are the things you have to do, that you don't want to do them? Because a lot of us, I don't know, but I'm looking at on one side of the world where we're performing. I remember being younger and things like that, where I always felt like I was performing, even in my marriage, in my, my friendships, my relationships with different people. I always felt like I couldn't be my true, authentic self. But I guess as you get older, you start realizing, no. You can be who you need to be in your true, authentic self, and you don't have to perform. Because you know what? It gets exhausting. Whether you're performing for a man and you're telling him you're this certain way, and in reality, you're not, or whether it's at your work, you know what I mean? Wherever it is, it's like we're living this facade under these wigs, under these weaves, under just just ridiculous, and we don't want to do the work. And as we continue to try to combat CCCA, and I'm talking about hair now, in order to do that, it must evoke change. It is the inevitable, because what happens, ladies, if we don't try to change the narrative or whatever the bad practices we're doing, eventually what's going to happen is that you're going to, of course, have permanent hair loss, but it's going to affect you in every area of your life. It's not just about your hair. Your hair is just a manifestation of what's going on internally. And to say you want to call in, I'm not saying everybody, but to say you want a high value man and you want this life and you want the white picket fence and you want to start having kids and you're only 32 and you've already lost 30% of your hair, and someone gives you the tools and say, hey, and the trichology, you went to a dermatologist who told you it's not permanent hair loss, and to say, I just don't want to do the work, just make me some wigs, it's really, really sad. And I think that we should stop making demands, whether it's a man or whether it's in our relationships with our children or our family, whoever. Stop making demands on people and asking them to change when you yourself, you're not willing to change. And it shows. And eventually at 32, by the time she is 42 years old, she will be like the videos I showed you yesterday with the hair loss, with the aesthetic hairstylist. She will be one of those women in the chair if she's not already, right? So we have to stop asking for top-notch this and luxury and all these different things, but we're not willing to put in the work. Sometimes we don't have to work hard, but we have to work smart, and we have to be willing to put in the work, right? And so I just want to make this quick video. I really pray it helps you if you are looking for change. Maybe you're having some issues with your hair. Maybe it could be something as small as just changing your products that you're using or whatnot. And you want a one-on-one consultation, or you want to do a coaching session, some coaching sessions with me. I am offering that now. I want to thank the ladies who started doing the work, who came out, who were very vulnerable and transparent, and we were able to help them. I was able to help them and get them back on track. And for those of you that still want to play the game, you're going to be, you're playing with time, and time is worth more than money. All right, so I pray that this video helps you. Please don't forget to go and sign up on Beautypioneers. I will leave the link in there. We will be going live this Sunday at 7 p.m. And guess what, guys? Y'all know what I'm about to say. See you next video. Bye.